Hi everybody, welcome to Live Blogger. In this video, I'll show you how to create this animated sidebar using HTML, CSS and JavaScript. So here we can see on the left side, we have this sidebar, and if I hover over this, we have the animation for all the elements inside the sidebar. So these are basically links. So you can add the link of any page over here, and the user will be taken to that link when they click on these links. So we're going to create this using HTML, CSS and JavaScript in this video. So let's get started. Right here I have created this folder called Animated Sidebar, and I just opened it with VS Code. Now let's go ahead and create the necessary files. So let's click on New File and let's create an HTML file, and I'll just name it index.html. Now let's create a CSS file. I'll just name it style.css. And let's also create a JavaScript file. I'll just name it main.js. Right now, let's start with the index.html file. Now in VS Code, you can just press exclamation and press tab, and you will have this basic HTML5 code. But let's link our CSS file over here. So I'll just type link and press tab. And here in the href, I'll just type style.css. And in the body, let's type script :src and press tab. And here I'll just type main.js. So we have linked our CSS and our JavaScript files. Right now, let's start with the HTML of our design. So the first thing I will do is I'll just create a container division. So we'll just create a division with the class of custom sidebar. Right now in this, the first thing we need to do is create this logo. So for that, let's create a division with the class of logo. And here I'll just type lb dot. So this is our logo. And I'll just open this in the browser and let's see how it looks. So I have this extension called Live Server installed in VS Code. So once you install that, you can just right click over here and click on Open with Live Server. And here we can see our design is being displayed, and we have the logo displayed over here. But now let's go ahead and create a division with the class of menu. And in this division, we need to have this title. So for that, I'll just create a division with the class of menu title. And here I'll just type menu. Now in this, we need to have different menu items. So we need to have the icon and the text over here. So for that, let's create an anchor tag, and we can add the link of our pages over here. So I'll just type hash for now. And in this anchor tag, the first thing we need to have is the icon. So let's create a division with the class of icon. And in this, we will add the icon. And after the icon, we need to add the label. So let's create a division with the class of label. And here I'll just type home. So this is the first label. And here we can see we have the menu title and the home label displayed over here. All right, now let's go back and let's create the other one. So here we have settings, courses, and downloads. So let's add them over here. So just copy this and paste it down here 3 more times. And here we need to have settings, courses, and downloads. So let's type settings and courses. And here let's type downloads. And after this, we need to have this separator, and after that we need to have another list of menus. So let's create another division with the class of menu. So here outside this division, let's create a division with the class of menu, and let's copy this anchor tag from here, and let's paste it over here 2 times. And before that, we need to have the menu title. So let's type menu title, and here we need to have the title as links. So let's type links. And here we need to have notifications and statistics. So let's type notifications. And here let's type statistics. All right, now let's go to our design. And here we can see all the elements are being displayed. Now let's add the icons. Now for the icons, we're going to use heroicons.com. Right here, I'm in heroicons.com, and let's add the icons. So the first icon we need to have is for home. So let's just search for home. And here we have these icons. Let's just copy this first icon from here. So you can just click on copy SVG. Let's go back and let's go to the icon division. And let's paste the icon over here. Now if you go back, here we can see we have the home icon displayed. And the next thing we need to have is the settings icon. So let's just search for settings. And let's copy this icon from here. And let's paste it over here for the settings icon. And then we need to have courses and downloads. So let's go back and let's search for courses. and we don't have any search result for course, so I just search for something else. And here we have a cap, so let's search for cap. And here we have this cap icon, so let's copy the icon from here. So I'll just click on copy SVG and let's paste it over here in courses. And lastly, we need to have downloads, so I'll just type download over here. We'll just copy this icon and let's paste it for the downloads icon. And then we have two more icons, one for notifications and the other for statistics. So here let's search for notification. And here we have the notification icon, so I'll just copy this and I'll just paste it over here. And then lastly, we have statistics, so I'll just type statistics. And here we have this icon, so I'll just copy this and I'll just paste it over here. So with that, we have added all the icons for our menus. Now let's go ahead and style this using CSS. So let's go to a style.css file, and this is how our page looks right now. So first of all, let's go ahead and resize the images or the icons so that all the elements are being displayed correctly. So let's go ahead and type custom sidebar, and in that we have this division with the class of menu, and in that we have this SVG. So I'll just type menu SVG, and let's set the height of the icons to 30 pixels. And now we can see all the icons have the correct height. Right now, let's go ahead and add a background color for the body. So here let's type body. Now for the background color, we will use linear gradient, and for that we will use a website called cssgradient.io. So you can just go to this website and generate some CSS gradients, and you can get the CSS code over here. And if you scroll up here, we have some generators. So if I just go over here to backgrounds, here we can see we have this gradient, and you can get a lot of different awesome linear gradient colors from here. So I'll just select one of these. I'll just select this one right here. So let's click on copy CSS, and let's go back to our CSS, and I'll just paste the CSS over here. And now let's go back to our website, and here we can see we have this linear gradient background color. Now here we can see we have some problems in the colors over here, but when we start styling this sidebar, it will be fixed. So we will set the position of the sidebar to fixed. So here let's type custom sidebar, and let's set the position to fixed. And now we can see that the color has been fixed. And now the sidebar is fixed over here to the left side at the top. So let's go ahead and set a background color. Let's set the background color to RGBA 255, 255, 255. And for the opacity, let's tap 0.2. And we'll also set backdrop filter to blur, and let's set it to 10 pixels. Right now, let's go ahead and set the font family to Roboto and sans serif. And let's set the width of the element to 80 pixels. And let's set the top position to 24 pixels and the left position to 24 pixels as well. And let's add border radius. So I'll just tap border radius, and I'll just set it to 10 pixels. And let's also add box shadow, and let's set the values to 0, 8 pixels, 32 pixels, RGBA, 31, 38, 135, and for the opacity, let's tap 0.4. And let's also type overflow to hidden so that anything outside the division is not being displayed. And let's also set the color of all the text. So I'll just type color, and let's set the value to 0, D1, B2A. Now we need to add the same color to these anchor tags as well. So let's go ahead and type custom sidebar menu, and in that we have anchor tags, and let's set the color to 0, D1B, 2A. Now first of all, let's style the logo. So for the logo, we have this division with the class of logo. So let's go ahead and select that. I'll just tap custom sidebar logo. And for the logo, let's set the font size to 30 pixels. And let's set the font weight to bold. And let's set a background color. And I have just copied some color from cssgradient.io, and I'll just paste it over here. Alright, so here I have added the color. Right now let's color the text. So let's tap color. And for the text, let's type E63 946. I think we can increase the font weight, so I'll just type 900 over here. And now let's add some padding, so I'll just type padding, and let's set the values to 8 pixels top and bottom and 20 pixels left and right. So that's it with the logo. Right now let's style the menu. So here we can see we have these divisions with the class of menu, and in that we have these anchor tags, and we have one more division with the class of menu over here. So if we go back to our design, here we can see that for each of the menus we have this border. So let's style the menu. So here I'll just type custom sidebar menu, and let's set the border top to 1 pixel solid, and for the color let's type RGBA 13, 27, 42 and 0.3 for the opacity. And now let's also add some padding. So let's type padding, and let's set it to 16 pixels top and bottom and 0 for left and right. And now if we go back here, we can see that we have this border top, and let's also set the display to flex and flex direction to column. And now let's add a gap, and let's set it to 12 pixels. Right now let's style the menu title. So for that we have this division with the class of menu title. So let's target that. Let's type custom sidebar menu title, and let's set the font size of the menu title to 14 pixels, and let's set the text transform to uppercase, and we'll set a margin of 8 pixels top and bottom and 0 for left and right. And let's also add a padding of 0 for top and bottom and 20 pixels left and right. And now we can see that the menu title is styled correctly. Now when we hover over this sidebar, we need to increase the width of the sidebar. So here we can see when we hover over this, the width increases. So let's do that. So here for the sidebar, we have set the width to 80 pixels. So let's type custom sidebar colon hover, and here let's set the width to 300 pixels. And now we can see when we hover over this, the width changes. And let's also add smooth transition. So here for the custom sidebar, let's tap transition, and let's set the values to all 400 milliseconds. And for the easing, I'll just use a cubic Bezier. So I'll just type cubic Bezier, and for the values, let's type 0.07, 0.88, 0.37 and 1.05. And now if we go back, now we can see that we have this smooth animation. And when you hover over this, we also want to move this menu title to the right a little bit. So here we can see that the menu title moves a little bit to the right. So let's do that. So here for the menu title, we have this class of menu title. So here I'll just type custom sidebar colon hover menu title, and let's type padding, and let's set the padding to 32 pixels, because by default we have a padding of 20 pixels. And here also let's add a smooth transition. So here let's tap transition, and let's set it to all 400 milliseconds, and here I'll just type ease. And now we can see we have the animation for the menu title as well. Right now let's go ahead and style this anchor tag. So inside the anchor tag we have the icon and also the label. So we need to have these icons and labels one next to the other. So let's set the display of the anchor tag to flex. So here let's type custom sidebar menu A, and let's set the display to flex, and let's set a gap of 24 pixels. And we'll also align items to the center, and we'll also remove the underlines. So let's tap text decoration, and let's set it to none. And let's add a padding of 8 pixels top and bottom and 24 pixels left and right. And this is how it looks. Now when we hover over this, we need to have a background color. So here we can see we have this background color when we hover over this. So let's add that. Here I'll just type custom sidebar menu A colon hover, and here let's add a background, and let's set it to RGBA 255, 255, 255, 0.2, and we'll also add border radius of 10 pixels. And let's also add smooth transition. So I'll just tap transition, of all 500 milliseconds is. And let's go back, and this is how it looks. Right now, the next thing we will do is we will hide the labels when we are not hovering over this sidebar. So for that, let's go ahead and take a look at the label. So I don't think we have added the label. So let's go ahead and add some styles for the label. So let's tap custom sidebar label, and by default we will set the opacity to 0, and we'll set the pointer events to none so that we are not able to click on that. And we'll also set a transition of all 600 milliseconds is. And when we hover over the sidebar, we need to display the label. So here let's tap custom sidebar :hover label, and here let's type opacity and let's set it to 1, and let's set the pointer events to auto, and we'll also move it from the left to the right a little bit. So here let's type transform translate x, let's set it to -20 pixels, and here when we hover over this, let's type transform translate x 0, and now we can see that the animation is working all right. Right now when we hover over this, let's also add some margin to the left and the right. So here let's type custom sidebar :hover menu A, and let's add a margin of 0 top and bottom and 24 pixels left and right, and this is how it looks. Everything looks alright. Now the last thing we need to do is we need to add a stagger effect. So if we go back to our original design, here we can see when you hover over this, all of these labels are animated one after the other. So we have a little bit of delay between the animations for each of the labels. Now for this we need to add transition delay in CSS. So if you go back to our CSS, now here we need to select each of the labels and we need to add transition delays of incrementing values. Now if you have a lot of elements, then it can be difficult and time consuming to add transition delay to all of them. So let's do that using JavaScript. So let's go to our JavaScript and let's go ahead and select all the labels. So I'll just tap const labels equals document.querySelector all, and let's tap custom sidebar, and in that we have label. Now all the labels will be stored inside this constant labels. Now let's loop through all the labels. So let's tap labels.for each, and for each of the label I'll just call it label, and let's create an arrow function over here. And here let's go ahead and type label.style.transition delay. Now here we need to add different delays for each of the elements. So for the first element we will have a delay of 0, and then for the second element we will have a delay of 50 milliseconds, and for the third one we will have a delay of 100 milliseconds, and so on. So we will have an increment of 50 milliseconds. Now if you go ahead and type 50 milliseconds over here, then it will add the same transition delay to all the elements. Now we don't want to have that. We need to have different transition delay values. So for that we need to access the index of the labels. So here in the arguments list we can also add the index. So here I'll just type index. You can call this anything you want. And here we need to type $ curly braces, and here we will add the index variable times 50 milliseconds. So now what this will do is that it will give a transition delay of 0 for the first element, because for the first element we will have an index of 0. So 0 times 50 is 0. And then for the second element it will have a transition delay of 50, because for that we will have an index of 1, and 1 times 50 is 50. And then for the next one it will have a transition delay of 100, because the index will be 2. So 2 times 50 is 100. Right, now let's go back to our design and let's see whether everything works alright. So let's hover over this, and now we can see that the transition delay is being added to the labels. So everything is working alright. So that's basically how you can create this animated sidebar using HTML, CSS and JavaScript. Right, so that's basically it for this video. I will leave the link of the source code in the description of this video. And if you have any doubts, you can ask in the comments below. And if you like this video, please click on the like button and subscribe to this channel to get the latest video updates. Thanks a lot for watching. Have a nice day.